This is going to be our first actual virtual interview in this room. I hope that everything will work fine. Can you have Laurent with us?
Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Hi, Laurent. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Can you see the room?
I can, yes.
So we are very excited. We have a room full of all the CEOs in ophthalmology in Israel. A lot of them you know. And yes, it's a great pleasure to have you with us. I'm Yaacov Michlin. I'm the CEO of BioLight and chairman of the entire MIXI conference. But you are here to hear Mr. Laurent Attias. Laurent is the head of corporate development strategy, business development and licensing, and mergers and acquisitions, a role which he has held since 2015. Since 1994, when Mr. Attias joined ALCON, he has had various roles with increasing responsibility. Laurent leads all commercial execution and product pipeline activities of ALCON surgical, pharmaceutical, and vision care franchises. Thank you for joining us, and you already mentioned to me that you visited numerous times in Israel. You know many of the participants in the room, so we are very excited. We have 1,700 people in the conference. We have a lot of people in the room, and many of them you know, and we are happy to have you here, and you can start with your presentation and the slides that you prepared.
Sure. First of all, it's a pleasure to be among all of you. As you mentioned, Yaacov, I had a chance to come and visit with the intention to discover innovation, ophthalmic innovation in Israel back in 2018. We did it again in 2022. At the time, I also brought our CEO, David Endicott, and it was really eye-opening as to the level of activity and creativity in Israel. We were very impressed, and I will discuss a little bit later in your questioning what that meant in terms of ALCON's involvement with Israel innovation in ophthalmology. So I'm really glad to be here. I'm also, all my best wishes for this marvelous country that keeps doing these meetings while you have many other things on your mind. So all my best to you. Anyway, what I wanted to discuss and give you a few insights, and you'll be happy to know that I'll be in front of the top 150 ALCON employees in about a week and actually covering very similar slides. So you'll have a preview here. Wanted to give you a little bit about the ALCON innovation approach and how do we look at things and where do we look at things. And it starts with the defined strategic objectives, and I'm going to cover those. It starts also with industry meetings and us attending and meeting all of the entrepreneurs, all of the ideas, all the parts of the world. And obviously, we've included Israel. We do thorough landscape by disease areas of ophthalmology, and I'll be speaking about that. And then we establish priorities for the business cross-functionally with the commercial side, with the BD side, the corporate strategy, and obviously R&D as well. So let me go into some of the objectives. I'm going to see if the slides are working here. There we go. So if you think about external innovation, we have 5 different objectives. One of them is to what we call secure strategic core. What does that mean? Well, that means that we, as you know, ALCON have a long history and legacy in products like cataract, interventional machines, vitreoretinal, but as well IOLs, intraocular lenses. And so therefore, we must look at technologies that could be competitive or disintermediate or disrupt all of these core strategic products for ALCON. And so therefore, that means that we will take multiple shots on goals. We will make investments in technologies that could be disruptive to ALCON. And that means that's going to be higher risk, but we do take those those shots, and we have several ongoing right now, whether it's on the cataract side or IOL side. Obviously, I can't cite some examples. That's why I have this little smiley here with a zipped mouth. But I'll give you some examples as we cover other objectives. So that's the first one. 2 is enabling technologies. What does that mean? Well, as you know, we have a large internal efforts with R&D. We're largest private investment in R&D, almost $1 billion every year in ophthalmic programs. But R&D will find itself where they need another component, right, of to complete a project internally. And therefore, we'll go and seek out some of these components in order to complete the internal efforts of all the programs. And we do several of these a year. So therefore, precise technology that can fit in to larger projects of ALCON internally, we will be looking for. Then there's what we call gap fillers. And on the gap fillers, here is a gap that we've had in our product portfolio. And I give you an example here of Argos. Some of you know that we've come out with a biometer. And as you know, we have a lot of products inside the operating room, but we wanted to also have the products in the office, the diagnostics, competing obviously with our friends at Zeiss with the IOL Master. And Argos has been quite a success, and that was an external innovation that we got in order to become a gap filler for us. And then we want to go into white spaces, and we've done some plays, and we continue to look at surgical glaucoma actively. We had done that many years ago with Optinol, actually, in Israel. And then we since then kind of added to this with the Iventis Hydra stent. And then we've moved back into pharma. As you know, I've been many, many years with ALCON, and we traditionally always had a large pharma division until we separated from Novartis in 2019, and we lost this pharma. Now we're going back into pharma, and Aerie was the first step here with a few other couple of products that we did that. So those are the white spaces. If I continue on, I want to give you the internal process. This is the process that all of you can expect when talking to ALCON, and how do we go and stage and gate the escalation of technologies, innovation at ALCON. It starts with what we call the triage and the search. We've coined these stages at ALCON internally. Speed means we will look at everything. We'll look at even one doctor's napkin idea and take, and we call those speeds. It means that we try to do on a weekly basis almost several of them per meeting, looking at strategic fit, looking at potential, and then we'll say yes, no very quickly. That's why we call them speed. BDNL1 is when we already know that there is a strategic fit. The commercial team is interested in the BDNL1 stage. And then we'll do a technical overview, a kind of revenue potential at a high level. And then we'll monitor and engage further. Engaging further means that we go and hand it over to our R&D colleague. And now we're trying to establish the scientific rationale. And so we trigger a TE. So we go and tap on the R&D team, and they go and try to confirm the development timelines, the regulatory pathway, the clinical requirements, the probability of success, the IP coverage, the freedom to operate, FTO. And that's a meeting that we do, and then that allows us to qualify technology to go to the next step. And the next step is a validation. We call it BDNL2. At that stage, my team will reach out to the regions, to the business, and start establishing revenue models across the world, P&Ls, and try to establish the key risks, and also look into valuation, right? And working with you as a partner for the innovation as to what will be the expectation of valuation given the potential for the strategy. And then we do a final alignment, and these terms here, GFT means Global Franchise Team, and GBNI means Global Business and Innovation. So those are just committees of ALCON that gathers all the commercial teams and R&D. And here we're trying to get final alignment, basically, on the business case and the product and the technology in order to go to the ALCON Deal Committee, the ADC, and then get it ratified by the ECA, the Executive Committee of ALCON, which I'm a member of. There's only 7 of us at the Executive Committee level. And that's where we obtain our mandate, and obviously we close the transaction. So that's the process that you can expect. And literally, my team could tell you, hey, you're at the BDNL1 stage, or you're at the TE stage, technical evaluation, or we've moved now into BDNL2. And this is exactly what it will mean. And it'll give you an approximate timeline and where does the technology sit in the level of interest of ALCON and the level of resources applied, okay? So I hope that's helpful. One of the things that we've done at ALCON, and this is the last slide that I have, is to make investment tools available at different stages of innovation. We recently mostly created, or Franck Levellier, who came to me on those 2 trips to Israel, who, by the way, has a PhD from the Weizmann Institute and spent 4 or 5 years in living in Israel, and he sends his regards, created the ALCON Seed Fund. And this is where he's looking for technologies that may not even be in ophthalmology, but could have applicability to ophthalmology. We don't really have equity or anything like that. We're just paying for some kind of proof of concept. And I'll give you a little bit the strategic objective. It's looking at emerging science, right? It's looking at things that could be in a wide net of technologies applicable to R&D. R&D decides on their own. It could be transformative, right? But we have limited evidence at this point of the game in the seed fund. And it's usually outside a strategic plan. That means that it's usually that the technology will not create revenue in the 5-year period, but beyond that. And this is a from $0 to $1 million threshold to try to seed. So a lot of universities we would deal with, a lot of onesies and twosies entrepreneurs, and they've been quite active in doing that per year. Then we moved to BDSI, something we created on the corporate development side, and it's strategic investments. This is just a technology that's now more proven. We're looking for a POC, a proof of concept. We're looking for, it usually matches our priorities for commercial, usually on strategy. And now we're trying to get a clear product idea and a business model, and it may or may not be inside the strategic plan. And this is an investment up to $5 million. This is a quite expedited process also, because it only takes myself and the CFO to approve. It doesn't go through any other committee. And it's usually a sponsor, like somebody in R&D or somebody on the business side that wants to make this investment. And we do quite a few of those on a yearly basis. And then we move to the more formal BD&L process, and this has no cap, basically, because it can be any kind of value. And this is when it's really a strategic priority. It's a more mature technology. It's usually in escalating stages of development. And here we go and do the full analysis and the full work. So that's basically it for the process of ALCON and how do we go about things. I hope it kind of framed everything for you.
Thank you very much. It was very helpful. I just want to mention that this will be broadcasted on the OIS network, and a lot of people are joining us now virtually. So thank you. It was very productive, and you answered already my first 2 questions. And many people here in the room want to get to stage number 5 in your process. So in order to get more details about this, I will focus a little bit about Israel. So we all know about the historical acquisition of Optanol. Can you share with us a little bit more about your impressions from the interactions with Israeli companies since then, whatever you can share? And also, please address the advantages and disadvantages, and you can be blunt with us. It's a closed room, but broadcasted.
Yes, well, listen, so very good question. So first of all, yes, Optanol was an acquisition, but it was quite a few years ago. And ever since 2018, when we did our first trip to Israel with Franck and I, the head of R&D, I can tell you that, and then again in 22, and I'll give you the differences between those 2 trips and how we approach things. We kind of try to gather all of the innovation or startups in Israel in ophthalmology. And obviously you have quite a few here in the room. And then we kind of had our selection process. But I think we probably met with 20 or 25 of them each trip, and dedicating about 45 minutes to an hour with each of them. And I can tell you that the results of these 2 years, of these 2 interactions have led to multiple investments beyond the only acquisition that you've heard from Optinol, and that spans from in surgical. Obviously, I'm not going to name the companies, but I'll give you that in surgical we have investments, actually ongoing investments in the cataract field. We have ongoing investments on the refractive side, and we've had others as well in other areas of surgical applicable to other diseases. I'll stay at this vague level. So there are multiple engagement and ongoing investments, and generally our investments tend to be gradual and increase with the level of de-risking over time. We've made some investment in vision care. So when we say vision care at ALCON, we mean contact lenses, we mean all the things to correct vision, maybe myopia, but contact lenses is one area, and we've made some investments there. Again, more than one. And on the pharma side as well. So I think we've been pretty rich, and so these are all in process. They may lead to acquisitions. You will hear about it when we do. But I think it's pretty rich in terms of our pipeline. It is the most active, actually, region of the world that we have investments in, to be honest with you. And we're very proud of it and very and want to continue doing so. And that's why and sorry, OIS, but we think that we kind of initiated this first contact with Israel back in 2018, and we're glad to see that now we formalized the effort.
Excellent. So we have a lot of strengths here in Israel from biotech and other areas, but specifically recently Israel is known also for the high-tech space, and a lot of optics, but also a lot of digital health and AI. How do you see these areas of digital health and AI fitting into the portfolio of ALCON?
Very important and very big focus for ALCON. You may not know this, but ALCON, about 3 years ago, have decided to structure the organization with a digital group that is actually separate in order to give it a focus. And we have 3 what we call digital lighthouses. One has to do with the surgical side, one has to do with all the vision care side, and here we're looking at everything for contact lenses, whether it's online refraction, all kinds of different things supported by digital and AI, and as well also on things that have to do with manufacturing and end-to-end customer interactions, all supported with digital. And these 3 organizations are large organizations that are reporting directly into the head of all commercial, the GBNI that I mentioned earlier, Global Business and Innovation, where R&D reports to this person, Ian Bell is his name, and then digital. And so digital has a keen focus at ALCON, so much so that we've designed the organization like that. And we're looking at, and if you think about our cataract effort, where we have all these pieces of equipment in the OR and now also in the office, we're obviously creating a connected ecosystem of these, and we've launched first versions of that connectivity. It's called smart cataracts, and then we will do that also in refractive and glaucoma, et cetera. And this is all supported by a lot of AI, whether it's for visualization and better placements, or whether it's in pathology, establishment thanks to AI, or the running and the enhancements of algorithms for refractive or for cataracts. So that's quite embedded at ALCON and quite a large topic. So we welcome all these efforts in digital and AI.
We are getting to the end of our time, but I saw your nice presentation and the gaps and the white spaces and what you want to add into your portfolio. But if I will ask you, if you have now that 10 or 20 million to invest in a startup in Israel, what would you say will be your dream product that you would like to see? You can choose everything from drug, device, and digital health. What would you say is the one best thing that you would put your money on?
Give me a truly accommodative IOL that mimics the natural crystalline of the human and is not so difficult to insert and gives us a real range of diopters.
Fair enough. And last question, what is your final tip for an Israeli CEO approaching the big system of ALCON with all your great people that we know, many of them, and welcome to your person in Israel. So what should be the right way to really get the startup and the presentation noted by your system?
Well, hopefully you know my people, because hopefully they're available and out there. They attend all the meetings that hopefully you can come and venture. We will do another trip to Israel. It's just a matter of us scheduling this. But I would say that one of the things we did from the first meeting we did in 18 and 22, in 22 we provided a template so that everybody would serve up the information in a way that it was easier for ALCON to digest. One of the things that we wanted to emphasize is to make sure that we had a clear picture of the IP and the ownership of the IP, that we had a clear FTO also, freedom to operate, and then obviously a clear development plan. In 2018, it was a little bit more all over the board. In 2022, and we provided actually some slides to put into a format, we got to a lot better discussions, which actually triggered investments as well. So therefore, I think I've seen, and what we love about working with startups in Israel is the level of activity and iteration and speed of iteration. So on the technical side, we're very pleased at how quickly, and I think that you're also pretty efficient as well, and you spend money carefully, and that's very much appreciated. So I think it's only been improving, and please reach out to my team, those of you that know it, and we are at all the meetings, and we will come specifically to Israel as soon as we can schedule it. But it's a pleasure, and we keep welcoming all the ideas.
So Laurent, thank you very much. We really have a great innovation in Israel, and also the best use of the dollars that we can do compared to other places. We strongly admire your support, the long-term personal and ALCON support in the Israeli ecosystem, especially in ophthalmology. We look forward to greet you and see you here in person in Israel, and thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.